I've been expecting you. Welcome everyone to Car Week in California, in Monterey in California. If you haven't heard of it, it's an amazing event. It's a week of events basically, culminating in the Pebble Beach Concourse, which is the one you've probably heard of. But today we're at something called Quail and Motorsports Gathering. It's another show with loads and loads of exciting new cars. Basically, this is the one where the punters get absolutely annihilated on the all-inclusive champagne. And car geeks like you and I get to nerd out on all the new supercars, hypercars, track cars. If you're a billionaire, this place is basically your fever dream. And speaking of fevers, we start on the Zenvo stand. Zenvo, everyone's favorite Danish hypercar maker. Well, the company's had a proper facelift, it's under new management, and they've brought with them a brand new hypercar. It's called the Aurora, named after the Northern Lights. In fact, they brought along two new hypercars because you can get the Aurora in two flavors. You've got the Agil over here, which is the high downforce, the track focused version. Both of these, by the way, are road legal. The car over here, the turquoise one, this is called the Tur, and I'm almost certainly pronouncing that wrong, but this is the more long-legged, slightly plusher, more GT version. The best way I've heard this described is this is the GT3RS and this is the Turbo S. Everyone needs a 911 reference, don't they, to actually understand stuff. So, what I'm going to do first is explain what these two cars have in common, and we'll start with the carbon tub. So they've got this carbon monocoque, it's all new, it is super stiff, it's got F1 levels of stiffness and safety, weighs 120 kilograms. Interestingly, on both cars, you'll see it's massively exposed. The whole idea with these cars was to make them skeletal, to take stuff away, to make them look lightweight. So there's a load of carbon you can see, and that is actually the monocoque on display. And then the big thing they have in common is a brand new engine. It's been developed by Mahle Powertrain's 6.6 litre V12 with 4 turbos. Interestingly, it's a 90-degree angle, which leaves lots of space in the middle for those 4 small turbos. Now that's all about throttle response. But the other thing they have is a 7-speed sequential gearbox with an integrated electric motor, a 200 horsepower electric motor. So I hope you got your calculators out because we're going to do some maths now. Over here to the Agil. So we've got 1,250 horsepower alone from that V12 engine, and then the E-motor on the gearbox, another 200 horsepower. So this is 1,450 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, and it weighs 1,300 kilograms. So a better than 1-to-1 power to weight ratio. And this one over here, the Tur, gets even more because this has the same 1,450 horsepower, but it also gets an extra 2 electric motors on the front axle. So you've got 4-wheel drive, you've now got 1,850 horsepower, and it weighs a little bit more, 1,450 kilograms, but you get the idea. Absolutely bonkers numbers. And speaking of which, I'm gonna have to get my phone out for this bit. The performance figures are out of this world. So this Tur version, 0 to 62 in 2.3 seconds, 0 to 186 miles an hour in 9 seconds, and 0 to 248 miles an hour in 17 seconds. The theoretical top speed of this, 280 miles an hour. The Agil, obviously that's going to be faster around a track with all the extra downforce, slightly slower, 0 to 62 in 2.5, but you've got 880 kilograms of downforce at 155 miles an hour, and it will do 227 miles an hour flat out. So yeah, they're not short of performance, these cars. The styling, I rather like it. I mean, yeah, the hypercars, there's a lot of them here today. They do sort of tend to merge together into one, but I think they've really differentiated themselves by what's not there. All the gaps, the way that the air flows through this car, this enormous hole here, that's made possible by the 90-degree angle on the V12, so you don't have to have side coolers, run straight through the back of the car. It gives the car a look of being lightweight, and as we've already discovered, it is pretty lightweight. In terms of the interior, we'll get a shot of the one over there, but they're basically the same interiors. That one's just a bit more stripped out. This one is the plusher, more leather-clad model. So this is the one we're going to have a look at. I've been told if I, oh yeah, just put my finger there and raise it up. There goes the door. Right, I'm going to get in. Now, I mean, when we're talking plush, we're not talking Mercedes S-Class in here, but there is lots and lots of expensive looking leather. There's this center console that kind of bridges down. It does feel very expensive. Lots of carbon fiber, lots of machined metal. I mean, yeah, it has to be. When you're trying to sell cars at this level to this kind of customer, you can't get it wrong with the quality inside. And here's a really cool function. Come here. So the boss of the company, Jens, he's over there somewhere. He hates screens. He hates the fact that modern cars just have big, ever-increasing size screens everywhere. So there is one here. These are all analog dials, but if I press and hold this, then this dial here spins around to give you your, your Apple CarPlay, your sat-nav, your music, your phone call from your mother, and then if you click it again, it should spin back round to hide itself. So, this car then, they're going to build 50 of each, 50 of the Agil, 50 of the Tur, keep it limited, keep residuals up. They want to sell them quickly. And the price, 2.6 million euros. That's before tax and before options. But honestly, around these parts, that's kind of an entry level price. Do you remember when 2.6 million euros would blow our minds? Yeah, not anymore. It's a fascinating thing. It's a rebirth of a company. And I have to say, I like the direction they're going in. Big, noisy engine, but harnessing the power of electric, improving throttle response, but keeping everything lightweight. Good job, Zenvo. If I had to pick one of these two, I'll take more power and plush all day long. See you in a bit. Bye-bye.